In the year 1843, when the North American wilderness was still untamed and whispers of opportunity spread like wildfire, Elias Maclean was a name well known among the fur traders. His prowess was not just in trading pelts, but in navigating the labyrinthine wilderness of what is now the U.S.-Mexico border. His secret? A compass gifted to him by an old Aztec-descended shaman, said to be enchanted with the ability to guide its owner to whatever their heart truly desired. Elias acquired the compass during a desperate moment. He had been hunting in the dense forests of northern Mexico, far from his usual trails. Bandits had stripped him of his pack mule and provisions, leaving him to starve or surrender to the unforgiving terrain. That was when he stumbled upon the shaman, a wiry man with deep-set eyes who introduced himself as Humac. "You seek more than pelts, fur trader," Humac had said, handing over the gleaming brass compass. "This will lead you to what you desire most, but it will demand payment. Use it wisely." Elias had laughed nervously, dismissing Humac's words as folklore. But when the needle of the compass spun to life without pointing north, directing him instead toward a hidden trail that led to safety, Elias's disbelief melted into awe. The journey south. For years, Elias relied on the compass to carve out new routes across the wild terrain, building his fortune and reputation. Yet, as his coffers grew, so did the whispers of his mysterious success. Rivals accused him of witchcraft, while others sought to steal the compass for themselves. By 1843, Elias had grown tired of the constant danger. He decided to make one last journey, a perilous venture deep into the Sierra Madre mountains to uncover a rumored cache of silver that could fund his retirement. He assembled a small team. Mateo, a grizzled Mexican scout who knew the region like the back of his hand. Clara, a fiery botanist documenting rare plants. And Tomas, a young sharpshooter eager to prove himself. Each had their reasons for joining, though none knew about the enchanted compass. The journey began in the dense pine forests of northern Mexico. The air was crisp, carrying the scent of resin and earth. Elias kept the compass close, consulting it when paths grew uncertain. The needle twitched and turned, guiding them through hidden passes and across treacherous rivers. They encountered jaguars' tracks, avoided venomous snakes, and even found a hidden grove of agave plants that Clara insisted on sketching. But the compass had its quirks. It would sometimes spin wildly, forcing Elias to wait for it to settle. And each time he used it, he felt a subtle, gnawing unease, as if the air grew heavier around him. The bandit ambush. 3 weeks into their journey, the group camped near a riverbed under the shadow of a towering cliff. The fire crackled, and stories were shared, but Elias's mind lingered on the compass. That night, as he polished its surface, Mateo's voice broke his thoughts. "You've been too lucky, Maclean," Mateo said, his tone laced with suspicion. "Luck doesn't come without a cost." Before Elias could respond, a gunshot shattered the calm. Bandits poured from the forest, their faces shadowed by wide-brimmed hats. Chaos erupted as the group scrambled for their weapons. Tomas fired into the dark, his aim steady despite the confusion. Clara, clutching a knife, stood back-to-back with Mateo, while Elias grabbed the compass and dove for cover. The attack was brutal but brief. Tomas's sharpshooting and Mateo's machete skills turned the tide, forcing the bandits to retreat. As dawn broke, the group surveyed the damage. Mateo had a gash on his arm, and Clara's supplies were scattered, but they had survived. Elias, clutching the compass, realized its needle was pointing insistently west. "We move," he said. "Now!" The hidden treasure. The compass led them to a narrow canyon, its walls adorned with ancient petroglyphs. Clara, fascinated, insisted they document the markings, but Elias urged haste. The needle's pull grew stronger, almost vibrating in his hand. At the canyon's end, they discovered a cave hidden behind a curtain of vines. Inside, the air was damp, and the ground sparkled faintly with mineral deposits. They followed the compass deeper until they reached a chamber where a pool of water reflected silver veins embedded in the rock. "This is it," Elias breathed. The group set to work. chiseling at the silver while Clara cataloged the cave's unique flora. But as the hours passed, an unease settled over them. The compass, resting on a rock, began to spin erratically. "What's wrong with it?" Tomas asked, eyeing the compass. "I don't know," Elias admitted. The air seemed thicker, the shadows darker. It was then they heard it, a low, guttural growl. A jaguar emerged from the shadows, its golden eyes fixed on the intruders. Tomas raised his rifle, but Mateo grabbed his arm. "No sudden moves," he warned. The jaguar paced, its growls reverberating through the chamber. Elias grabbed the compass, and the needle aligned sharply to the cave entrance. "Follow me," he whispered. Clutching their tools and samples, the group moved slowly, keeping their eyes on the predator. Just as they reached the entrance, the jaguar let out a roar, but it did not pursue them. Outside, the group collapsed breathless. The compass's price. With the silver packed onto their mules, the group began the journey back. Elias felt a weight lift as the compass pointed northward, guiding them home. Yet Humac's words lingered in his mind. This will demand payment. That night, as they camped near a river, Elias awoke to find the compass glowing faintly. The needle was spinning, and a voice, low and ancient, whispered, "What do you desire most?" Elias's thoughts turned to the fortune they had found, the life of comfort it promised. "Freedom," he murmured. The compass stilled, its glow fading. The next morning, Elias found his group uneasy. Mateo claimed he'd heard voices in the wind, and Clara's sketches of the petroglyphs had inexplicably smudged. Even Tomas, ever optimistic, seemed withdrawn. As they neared civilization, Elias noticed Mateo whispering to Clara and Tomas. Suspicion gnawed at him. That night, as they camped one last time, Mateo confronted him. "The compass," Mateo said, his machete drawn. "You've led us into danger with that cursed thing. Give it to me." You need to hear if you have watched this far. Subscribe, follow, share, and drop a suggestion in the comment section below. It shows that you're a part of the 1% who actually finished what they started. Elias refused. "You've all gained from it. The silver, our lives, everything was because of this compass." But Mateo lunged. In the struggle, the compass fell into the fire. The group watched in horror as the brass melted, releasing a plume of black smoke that dissipated into the night. Without the compass, Elias felt lost. The group, once united, parted ways. Mateo and Tomas sold their shares of the silver and vanished. Clara returned to her studies, though her sketches of the cave's plants never matched the originals. Elias, now a shadow of his former self, wandered the wilderness, haunted by dreams of spinning needles and whispered desires. Years later, travelers in the Sierra Madre spoke of an old man seen wandering the trails, clutching a broken compass and muttering about payment and freedom. They said his eyes held the glint of a man who had once seen the edge of the world and paid the price for it.